The salvage bay of the Meridian hummed with the steady pulse of life support systems, but beneath that mechanical heartbeat lay something dying. Jackson knelt beside the twisted form of what had once been the galaxy's most feared war machine. A cyborg wolf, Series 7, designation unknown. Its chrome and flesh chassis sparked intermittently, synthetic blood pooling beneath damaged biocomponents. "Just put it out of its misery," Captain Lily Chen said from the doorway, her voice carrying the weight of too many hard decisions. "The neural pathways are scrambled beyond repair. Even if we could stabilize the organic systems, the AI core is corrupted." Jackson didn't look up from his scanner readings. The wolf's massive head, half-metal skull and half-organic tissue rested against his thigh. One amber mechanical eye flickered weakly, while the biological eye had gone dark hours ago. "The Zephyrians built these things to be weapons," he murmured. "Living artillery with the loyalty of a dog and the lethality of a battleship. Which is exactly why we should, but they're still alive. Lily." Jackson's fingers found a patch of real fur behind the creature's ear, matted now with coolant and blood. "This one's been fighting their neural conditioning for days. Look at these readings." He held up his datapad, showing erratic brainwave patterns that pulsed like a desperate heartbeat. Every time the combat protocols try to engage, something else fights back. Something that doesn't want to kill anymore. Lily stepped closer, her boots echoing in the cavernous bay. Around them, the detritus of a dozen worlds cluttered the space. Salvage tech, refugee supplies, and now this broken weapon that her crew had pulled from a drifting Zephyrian destroyer. "Jackson, I've seen what these things do to human settlements. The massacre on Kepler 442b, the siege of New Terra. I know." His voice was quiet but firm. "But I've also seen what we do to each other. What makes us different isn't our capacity for violence, it's our capacity for mercy." The wolf's breathing, assisted by damaged cybernetic lungs, grew more labored. Its remaining systems were shutting down one by one, organic and artificial components finally succumbing to the wounds sustained in whatever battle had destroyed its ship. The creature's head pressed more firmly against Jackson's leg, seeking comfort in its final moments. "The Zephyrians designed them to be disposable," Jackson continued, running his hand along the wolf's neck where bioneural cables disappeared beneath artificial skin. "Born in labs, programmed for war, discarded when damaged. They never considered that consciousness might emerge from the fusion of organic brain tissue and quantum processors." Lily's expression softened slightly. She'd served with Jackson for 3 years, watched him perform miracles with salvage technology and impossible repairs. But she'd also learned to recognize when a situation was beyond even his considerable skills. "Even if you're right, even if there's consciousness in there, we can't save it. The biosystems are failing and we don't have the resources for that kind of reconstruction." "I'm not trying to save him," Jackson said, using the pronoun deliberately. "I'm just being here." The wolf's mechanical eye focused on Jackson's face with what might have been recognition. In that amber glow, something flickered. Not the cold calculation of a weapon, but the grateful acknowledgement of a creature no longer alone. Hours passed. Lily had returned to the bridge, but she found herself checking the salvage bay's internal cameras every few minutes. Jackson hadn't moved, hadn't tried to run more scans or attempt repairs. He simply sat with the dying cyborg wolf, offering the one thing no Zephyrian scientist had ever programmed into their creations: compassion. "Captain," her communications officer's voice crackled over the intercom. "We're receiving a transmission from the wolf. Audio only, very weak signal." Lily's blood chilled. "From the wolf? That's impossible. Its vocal systems were destroyed." "It's not using vocal systems, ma'am. It's broadcasting directly on emergency frequencies. Should I patch it through?" Lily was already moving toward the salvage bay. "Do it." The voice that emerged from the ship's speakers was artificial yet somehow achingly human. Words assembled from salvaged audio files and transmitted through damaged neural pathways. "Thank you." The signal fractured, reformed. "Never knew kindness. Dying not alone." Jackson looked up as Lily entered the bay, tears streaming down his face. The wolf's breathing had stopped, but its mechanical eye still glowed faintly. "In Zephyrian culture," Jackson said quietly, "their war machines are cremated with honors when they fall in battle. But this one," he gestured to the still form, "this one found something they never intended to give him. He found peace. The amber light flickered once more and went dark. Later, as they prepared the wolf's remains for burial in space, not the standard disposal of salvage, but a proper farewell, Lily found herself thinking about the transmission they'd received. The Zephyrian destroyer hadn't been destroyed in battle, her analysis had revealed. Its crew had abandoned ship, leaving their cyborg wolves behind to die with the vessel. But this one had survived, drifting through space until the Meridian found him. And in his final hours, he'd experienced something no Zephyrian had ever thought to program: mercy without expectation, kindness without purpose, love without condition. "You think others might be out there?" Lily asked as they watched the wolf's body disappear into the stellar winds. "More like him?" Jackson nodded slowly. "The galaxy's full of broken things, Lily. Weapons turned obsolete, soldiers abandoned by their wars, creatures caught between what they were made to be and what they choose to become." He turned from the viewport, his expression resolute. "Maybe it's time we started looking for them." The Meridian adjusted course, its sensors sweeping space not for valuable salvage, but for signals of the lost and dying. In the ship's memory banks, a final transmission played on repeat. Words of gratitude from a consciousness that had discovered, in its last moments, what it truly meant to be alive. And in the growing darkness between stars, other amber eyes began to flicker with hope.